If you carry a fear for 100 days about, oh, did I look at everything? Am I doing okay? Look, you're going to be so stressed by the end that adrenaline is not going to heal rosacea. That I can pledge to you, okay? Let's do something else. We're going to work with 0 point because my aim is while you're trying to address rosacea in your life, I'm going to use all my technique to keep you at 0 point, connected with your essence. And 0 point and essence will do the work. I want to talk for 1 second about the path of the Tao. In the path of the Tao, Lao Tzu says the path of the Tao sometimes is wide and brilliant, and sometimes it's small, shallow, and insignificant, but it is the Tao nonetheless. So you want to make sure that your aim is to stay connected on the path of the Tao, not to just recognize it when it's big and brilliant and outrageous. So we're going to work with presence to rosacea. That will be the healing. And with presence to rosacea, the solutions you need at all levels will be provided by the Tao, will be provided by essence. And 0 point is an incredible magnetic field. It will attract to you what you need. So it's not, in the fine line here is, well, if people said, okay, I have to let go. Having to let go is a mental idea because we have to do an action. If an action is involved, mental body is directing. We want to allow instead of letting go. We want to allow essence and 0 point. So I muscle test. Some people would use a pendulum or would use a radionic machines to get their answers. For me, I muscle test. You're not here, so I muscle test with my own finger using this technique or this technique that I have explained in my book. So we're not going to do a video on kinesiology or muscle testing right now because this is not our aim, but this is the little tool I use. I'm sure that in a few years we may not need muscle testing. The answers will come from inside. But at this point, I use muscle testing. So when I give an answer, I'm not showing my fingers all the time, but they're down here and I'm muscle testing. I'm using my 5 books to find out today for Lilou, which protocol do we need to do so that today she can be at 0 point and with her essence in front of this element.
So you're actually when you say muscle testing, your body is telling you what is good or not. For me, it's giving.
That's the old-fashioned way of muscle testing. Old-fashioned nowadays is 10 years old. You know, so fast.
Yeah, you're a pioneer. It's hard to follow.
I'm sort of asking an indication for yes and no. My first, I want to make really clear, I am not doing this technique to heal you. I'm doing this technique to bring you back to your essence at 0 points, and they will heal you.
Okay.
In a very different way than you thought. Because I have a friend who had rosacea. Went to see the doctors, had like treatments with light and laser done on his face, and finally, it's a friend of mine who's a hands-on healer who took it off by not working on rosacea. Did a session for something else, and rosacea left. How do you explain that? To me, the body is not a head, arms, stomach. It's a matrix. And in a matrix, you have to think, like in the back here, everything this is the cosmic matrix, in the Buddhist world, but everything is related to each other. And to me, that's the body. And when we have a section of the matrix that is fixated through stress, heredity, or whatever, everything is influenced by it. And then we bring back movement and it starts circulating. So what we want is to bring your essence and 0 point into your fear of having a red face forever. You know what I mean? So my first I have today, in this session we'll do, because all in all we'll do 4 sessions together, maybe 2 weeks apart. Okay. And today I ask how many exercise or protocol, and I have 3 to do. So my first is in this book, Essence. Okay. And in the book, I usually go and ask which of the exercise we need to do. And I muscle test here. And this exercise is about ascension. And we are in the processes of ascension. And if you read on ascension in the world, on the web, I mean, all kinds of physical symptoms are coming with ascensions. You must have read some of them, right? And so we never think, oh, I am in the process of ascension. We always think, oh, it's my job in the it's my job that did that. Your job was losing your job was part of your ascension process. And having rosacea is also involved in the process. And you know, when I quote Carolyn Myss on Defy Gravity, she said something really important. We are asking mystical questions like, who am I? And I want to ascend and I want to be part of this. And then she said, you don't understand. There will be side effects to that question. All right? You're changing face.
Can you define for us ascension so that we're all on?
Okay. You know that we have this big 2012 year. Right? No one knows about 2012 except that we know it's a landmark coming up. We've had a lot of prophecies. You probably have spoken about this before. And in 2012, we're ending a cosmic year for the Earth that lasts 26,000 years. And for the first 13,000 years, we go really, really away from the sun. And on the other 13,000, we come really, really close. We're like about next to the sun right now. And the sun in astronomy, not astrology, astronomy in science right now, there's so many storms going on the sun. Activity in the sun has increased incredibly, so much so that there has been lately a huge, huge storm on the sun. And we were supposed to get the effect of this in 2012. But now the scientific world are saying we're getting it in 2010. What it means is that we have more photons, more light coming to us all the time, more radiation. And on top of our head, we have photosensitive glands, the pineal gland and also the hypothalamus, right? They're not under our feet. They're on top of our head because they respond to the light. And like Barbara Marciniak in The Bringers of the Dawn had written in 1993, this soul activation is coming from the light. And information travels through light. It's through the photons of the sun. So it doesn't matter. Greg Braden had also said that. Doesn't matter where you live. If you live in the suburb and you think I'm not involved with this change, it doesn't matter. The sunlight is doing the job. It's happening everywhere on the planet. And this process, by some, is called ascending. Now, we used to think we would ascend into another dimension. And now I'm telling you, we're ascending within our own essence. We're ascending within our own light. And our own light is part of the cosmic whole. It's part of everything. So we're going back to our rightful place in the cosmos. But this is what but it's all that light coming from the sun is transforming our biology. We've got to be patient. And you know, Cryon said once in his channeling called the Cosmic Grid, he said, sometimes you will be more tired. And he said, sleep. You know, and I thought, yes, we need somebody who doesn't live on earth to tell us to rest when we're tired. So we are in a process of, and I'm not sure about the term ascension, but when I wrote Essence, I called it conscious ascension. Because before we used to think we'd go towards the light like Christ. Now we know we're going within our own light. And our physical body is coming with us too. We're not leaving the body behind. So the body needs to transmute. And remember, it's the most dense and slowest of all our bodies.
Mm.
Like we have our physical body, our emotional, our mental, and our spiritual. But the physical body is the most, and it's the one we need to be most kind with.
Mm.
And it's the one we push the most.
That's
Okay?
not the one I'm kind with for sure.
Well, this you're having a wake up call because what we want is for at 0 point, we want everything that we are part of the day. Everything. And when you think of this, you include the physical body, not like, oh, that fit. Do you know how often it needs to be fed and cleaned and gone to the doctor and get massage and it's take vitamins? It never stops. But then it becomes an act of grace and an act of silence because you find that lacking one of your body is not refined. It's an act of refinement to be with everything that I am. And that's where 0 point helps us because at 0 point, everything's going in. Good or bad, dense, not dense, you know. So it's about the first data I have is that you are part of the cosmic whole in this work of ascension. Not only this, you're part of the earth. Nobody on earth is not being affected with what's going on now. And if you don't believe this, just see they make one decision in Dubai and you pay more for your gasoline when you go at the garage. You know, we are all now interconnected. This is the age of Aquarius. We are connected. And this is about you knowing that your process is part of a bigger process. This is my first data, and that you could live what the data I have here is that you cannot do this trusting your essence. You know why? We don't know about our essence. We're starting. So then you say, okay, I choose to trust my essence even though I don't. Even though I don't have a clue what my essence is today, I want to live my life as if I was trusting my life force.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm scared of my face going all red. We use the fear, okay? We use the fear, and with the energy of the fear, we choose essence. But the more people know that we're connected now to an incredible moment in cosmic history, not just the Earth. Because this is the beginning in between 2010 and 2012, it's not a huge gap. We're in it. People who are waiting for 2012, they're distracted because it's going on right now, and nature is also going through this. The earth is going through this. We are one in this process. This will help you because even though you may not have faith in the process, which most of us don't, you will be able to choose it. Now, instead of wanting to manifest things and health and cars, you'll be manifesting essence and a tranquil certitude about your place in the cosmos. And my other protocol I have here in this book called DNA Demystified is programmed to tolerate the change in frequency.
What's that?
Look, the frequency or the vibration on the planet is changing so much that we're not tolerating it. Do you understand what the word tolerating means? It's like when I studied kinesiology, we came up with this thing that something could be efficient but not tolerated. I'll give you an example. Sometimes you hear of these herbs like, oh, they're the greatest, and then you muscle test and they're I always muscle test from 0 to 10. And let's say, like in your case, we'll take milk thistle, you know? Somebody would say, oh, you have rosacea, your liver is dirty. That's like level 1 naturopathy. We're dirty. It's so polarized in black and white. But they say, okay, take milk thistle, it will clean your liver. And then we muscle test that milk thistle is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on 10. So me at 5 on 10, I don't even buy milk thistle for myself. But let's say it would be 8 on 10. Okay, it will clean you. But then it would be tolerated, and you test tolerated. You go like this 0, 1, 2, 3. It's tolerated 3 on 10. That means that you may be cleaning your body, but then you'll get sick from it. All the toxins coming out of the liver will then make poison you. So that's what so even if you have something very efficient, if it's not tolerated, you don't take it. Working with innate intelligence and allowing the body to have its own rhythm and its own way of living, its own nature. So right now, with all those sun flares coming down, information's flooding the earth, our consciousness is changing, people are having. Look, I started to meditate when I was 17, and I meditated up to 5 hours a day, and nothing happened. All I ever heard about was that we had to quiet the mind. Now, I sit down in meditation and yoga, and in 5 seconds, my body's flooded with energy. This is not because I'm a good yogini. It's because the times, they are changing. The consciousness is changing on the earth. It's lighter. There's more light coming from the sun. Doesn't mean it's tolerated. Some of the symptoms of a change in frequency can be depression without a good reason. That's why I did this protocol, because that was my symptom. I would be a happy woman, would be depressed. Have you ever been happy and then all of a sudden, bang, you're depressed? And if in PMS, you can have that, right? But this is not PMS. This was like the change in frequency. And it's well documented on the web, but some of the other symptoms could be like being extremely tired while you did nothing, or having symptoms of allergy and you were never having allergies before, or you could have hypoglycemia and like your sugar can go up and down like this. Some people, their hair have started to change color, like grow darker while they were gray. There's all kinds of symptoms of the change in frequency. But I used to be so depressed with the change in frequency that I thought I need to do a protocol, put in my DNA a program to help me tolerate it. And at first, when I first wrote this book in 2000, we used to do this protocol once in a while. Now the frequency can change every 2 weeks and sometimes every 2 days. Have you noticed the astrology? Like, it's always every month. It's like, oh, this has never happened for so many years, and but our body have to adjust to this. So I made a protocol so we could tolerate this fluctuation in energy happening. And
I would like to be clear on protocol when you use the word protocol.
These are like in my book, I made these protocols with all these questions to reprogram DNA. When I was in my book Essence there, I was not working on DNA. I was finding out what was going on with your essence and your rosacea. Remember, the aim of my treatment is that you can be in your essence and at 0 point while you're having this, and they will bring the solution, not me. So my focus is to bring you back to full potential of who you are, and that potential will heal you.
Vavavoom!
Wait, okay, so one of the protocols for this is to help you tolerate. And so I muscle test in my protocol which question apply to you. And it says, I'm going to say some medical things, but this is vibrational. Doesn't mean it's true on a physical level. You know, when there's a magazine in French called Science et Vie, and they've just published last month an article about how DNA is influenced by our emotions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if you've read it, but
I saw it.
This is the same thing. It's affecting. So it says here that you're having antibodies to the new frequency. So your body is saying, oh, this is not normal. Let's fight it. Because our body are not used to, and we better get, we need to be in a place of 0 points if we want to go through the big changes between now and 2012, because our chemistry in our body with all that extra photons from the sun need to adjust. Rest when you're tired. Lower your expectation. Do not judge yourself when you cannot do what you could do before. If you start losing your words, if you are distracted, those are all signs of change of frequency. Don't just stay calm about this if you can. And it says that your intuition and your energy, they haven't gone hand in hand with the change in frequency. What that would mean is that there's a change of frequency. You lose your job, you start to the web and you output and everything. There's a change happening in your consciousness. But your intuition and your relationship with the body haven't followed this. The problem is, because this is so worldwide, we don't have any more temples, the real temples of the olds, like the pyramids or the SNEs, like in the time of Jesus. There's nobody saying, oh, we'll have a change of frequency now, so everybody will take a rest for the next 10 days. Christ is coming or whatever, okay? Us, it's every 5-6 days we're change of, and you know, one of the symptoms of a change of frequency or vibration in the world, it's to have a feeling that something's going to happen, but you don't know what. You can be laying in your bed and thinking, oh my God, something's going on, but I don't know what. That is like you have anxiety, you don't know what it's about, and you think, I must be crazy. It's happening. Sometimes you may even notice it's very sunny outside and you don't feel like going out, and you think, why? It's because there's too much going on in sun activity in your pineal and hypothalamus. And the hypothalamus in the movie What the Bleep Do We Know really shows how powerful it is on our way of thinking. This is bombarded by light from the sun. So it's a... And it says here that your magnetic field needs to be ionized and there's not enough negative ions. And that doesn't mean I'm going to do it now. I'm just... If we work in terms of matrix, when I found the data, I said, oh, here it's saying your ions are not... you don't have enough negative ion. I'm not fixing it. I'm naming. When I order at the end, I claim I will, everything will happen in it. Do you get to have a lot of fresh air and go outside? Because negative ions, that's what they are. Huh? It's
but not as much right now as. But I spend a lot of time when I moved to France in nature. I just spent most of the days. I had so much anxiety attacks that I had to.
Where are you now living?
Near the woods and near nature. Around Nantes area.
Okay.
But I'm not, I could be I spend a lot of time in front of the computer, so.
The computer gives positive ions. So you want negative ion. If you don't want to change your lifetime, you can buy a negative ion machine.
Oh, yeah.
If you have time to go outside, you can... or stand in front of your computer, but open the windows.
Yeah. No, I think it's essential to spend time outside.
Yes.
And take the time to do so. I can.
It's also good to have crystals, whatever. Think about nature, whatever way. You need more of it. And then it says here that you have a family pattern that's interfering with tolerating the change in the vibration on the earth. And it's up to 4 generations on your mother's side. And people, when they find out, they said, "What are we doing with it?" I said, "We do nothing. We're naming it so that when essence wants to go in there, it's not going to be blocked by unknown data. By knowing it, it's enough." So I'm not fixing your mother, the generation of your mother. And in your mother's history, did they move a lot?
No, not especially, no, but there was some very strong women with strong characters.
Sometimes a strong character is a very healthy thing in survival mode,
Yeah.
and it's not useful in change.
Yeah.
Because do you understand right now, even if we don't, that's Greg Braden was really clear when he said that, even if you don't do anything, you will change. Because it's coming from the magnetic field of the earth, it's coming from the sun. You just have to breathe on planet Earth to change. And we know this is true because the new children being born, they're different than who we were. It's because the environment, the electromagnetic field is different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's affecting you.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, then I'm going to add I'm adding one data to this protocol of the change of frequency, and it's about your energetic bodies, and it says that you're not in the right time and the right space, and that doesn't mean that you're not presently here, and it's not like March 2010, and you're not. It means that a part of you is not totally here, but it's neither in the past. I'm also test if it's in the past or the future. It said no. It said it's in no time. No time means that it's not about Earth. Because on the Earth we function with linear time. But when we spend time elsewhere, daydreaming or meditating, sometimes we hit the no time other space where they don't use time.
Mm-hmm.
Time is not linear. So I'm naming it, I'm not fixing it. Okay? That happened to you when you were having those panic attacks that you talked about. Have you noticed in a panic attack how time is really weird in there? It's really weird. And what's in a little teenager's movie? I had seen this guy. He's in a bathroom doing a psychiatrist in the high school, and he said to the guy, "Don't worry, a panic attack only lasts 15 minutes and doesn't kill anybody." And you want to know in a panic attack that it's only 15 minutes because it feels much longer than. And in these moments, part of you has lost a little connection with time. I'm not fixing it, I'm just naming it, and it's about your essence going in there and fixing this. And then I have one more protocol to do, and it's in this book. This book, which works
I love
with
that picture.
the 0 point, and it's convergence, and it's about the point zero, and it says what we want is for you to become available and accept what is, even if you don't know how. Because you see, we have this image that if we're healthy and we can function in society, and we're married and we have kids and a car and a house, then our life is good. Nobody's got that. It's a joke. It's a joke. Life is changing all the time. I have a house, and I had children, and I have a car, and I have a horse, and I have no more husband, and I was married for life. Right? Look, was doing it now. There's so much changes going on. You cannot function that way. You can only be with yourself going through this storm and not against the current, right? So it's like sometimes you can start your day and your night when you go to bed or when you rise, and you said, "Today I choose to be at 0 point and in my essence, and trust, even though I want it to be fixed, because, life is not broken, doesn't need to be fixed, but we want it to be fixed. So we use, at 0 point, we use everything that we are, even our desire to fix. We don't push it. We said, with my desire to fix, I use this energy to become available to what is and trust. And it says in your case, in staying present instead of distracted through action, like this, distracted through action, hyper awareness, criticism, self-criticism, or reasoning, we refrain from trying to transform ourselves and forcing the situation or making plans for the future. Rosacea has a gift for you. And if you listen to it, it will give its gift and then it will stop acting out.
I get that.
Okay? It's the same thing with horses and the rest of nature. They will get to you like a horse will. If it wants to tell you something, bite, kick, it will misbehave till you finally listen, and then it's gonna go quiet.
I love them too.
So it's the same thing with sickness and everything. And when you cannot be present, when you cannot stay, I choose to be present even though I'm really wired. You don't try to be a perfect heroine. You just allow yourself to be available to what is, and you keep a direction. Keep the direction of essence, 0 point. And it says that this disponibility will help you to stay attentive and stable and stay in your center without doing anything, forcing nothing. And from there, the dynamic energy of self-love will nourish you and regenerate you. And for me, you see, I have more confidence in self-love, 0 point, and essence than in anything else. And sometimes, out of that place, we take a medication, we take an antibiotic, but we're not outside of essence. Also, I want to tell you something about when we embark on healing. Let's say it is your pie. It's your adventure with Rosacea, your adventure with your essence. Everybody's going to help you. It will be a piece. That pie.
Yeah.
No?
So I'm clear about that. Yeah, yeah. There's a whole bunch of things, and it is because I'm the way I am too that it's attracting that. Is that what you mean?
Yes, or if we want to, instead of the pie, come back to the matrix. This is you emanating. Okay, me, I am another matrix, and we resound. We have a resonating going on between our vibrations. I come here and I awake these little data. While I awake them, they start making a ripple, and it's called passive influence. It sends an influence on this, and this once it starts being activated, sends an influence here. That's how the cosmos works. It's matrix within matrix within matrix. So it's your matrix, but you're influenced by the healing you receive. Okay, now, before we end, I have to install these protocols. Now I have my French book here, so I'm going to translate this, but can we pause? I'll just go get my English book and I could just read it straight in English, from English to English. I'm going to install this from this book, DNA Demystified, and at the end of a protocol, we command. And when we command, everything we have put in our data gets activated. And it says like this. And then now, this is the part where the energy, we get all these data for this session today about the change in frequency, ascension happening, a resistance in the family about this, creating even antibodies to the new frequency, you having to adjust your intuition and understanding to this change in frequency. Rosacea is not outside of the whole process. It's part of it. That's a big shift, you know. And then, now that I have named everything, I shall command. So I command that this new program be installed in the nucleus of the master cell of the pineal gland in all lives and all dimensions. I command that from the pineal gland, this program reach the endocrine glands, the brain, the nervous system and the peptides, the cells, the intra and extracellular fluids, the interstitial void, the atoms, and the quantum elements, all of the helices, chakra, etheric bodies, and the soul, and the skin. I command the RNA to support and reconnect itself to this new program. I command that the codons be returned to the order of the perfect original program, even if there has been an inversion of codes. I command the speed of the photons and the structure of the DNA spiral to adjust themselves. I command that the connection within the corpus callosum of the brain be restored according to the original divine plan. I command the perfect integrity of the telomere and the telomerase. I command that any residues from all programs be eliminated through the appropriate systems. I command that this program be perfectly sealed, the Merkaba be perfectly sealed, and that no radiation affect the DNA or the RNA. I command that these new programs be installed completely and until further notice in the brain stem, here and now. I command that the reconnection of these new programs be perfectly tolerated and integrated, and that this occurs at 0 point. I command that the power, the harmony, and the purity of this new program be installed in the DNA and be perfectly activated. That this reprogramming be tolerated and integrated according to the original plan in the frequency of love, even though our helices have been deactivated in the past. And finally, I command that this regeneration be complete and sealed until further notice from you. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Kishori.
And this, then we allow this to work itself out, to get your essence in 0 point. And what I tell my clients, not that I do anymore private consultation, but take notes, note your dream. Like until we have our next session, write what you realize through this, you know, because now we've started a way.
It will be part of the video blogs I do. Yes. I mean, this is part of the season.
Mm-hmm. So we shall meet again in 2 weeks for your next session. And in every session, what we do, we go where you're at this point, and we work. How can you be at 0 point? That's why we call it coaching instead of healing, because we're like the midwives. You're gonna give birth, not us.
Uh-huh.
And we help you stay with yourself at the next step.
So there's nothing for me to do, really.
Well, I've started you on Melaleuca, you know, to clean your skin with this. It's a natural antibiotic. And if I were to tell you, oh, do this and do that, would it come from within you?
No.
Okay. Can you give me 2 weeks of connecting with innate intelligence and using 0 point and essence and see where it will lead you? Okay, it's even if you had cancer and were dying, I would say the same thing, because it will create windows of opportunities. But instead of coming from your history or your mind, it's going to come from the big, big universal essence. Some would call it God. Me, I'm too much in quantum physics to use the term God, but I certainly would call it will come from the great cosmic matrix of which we're a point. but you're making a new frequency here, and this will respond differently. You will have synchronicity, answers. Your job will be to allow this to work. And if you become too goal-oriented, just say, oh, I am goal-oriented, so be it. And with that drive, I use this drive to call forth more essence and more 0 point.
Thank you, Kishori.
You're welcome, Lilou.
I'll be broadcasting this, and just want to say again, and as a disclaimer too, that this is my own life that we're experimenting. We're not saying this is appropriate for anybody else, and we're not claiming anything here. This is just part of this journey that we're sharing with as many people as possible, for the benefit of whoever wants to can listen to this, but we're not claiming anything.
We're also not saying that you should be taking antibiotic and melaleuca. We're at the step of melaleuca.
Yeah.
And if we're at the step of antibiotic one day, we'll do it with essence and 0 point. The same thing. Okay?
Got it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.